Hi, this is Keny the Handyman here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to repair a hole inside an interior hollow core door. Now these 6-panel doors are pretty easy to get damaged because they're hollow and they're made out of basically almost like a cardboard type of a material. It's not a very strong, it's not a solid wood door, so they easily oftentimes you'll see them with holes inside of them or cracks and stuff. So the first step would be to clean it off so that the surface, there's no sharp edges or material sticking out the end of it or out the sides of it. And so I peeled this off, got it clean. And then we're going to be using some insulating foam as the first step to spray it with this stuff. To fill the hollow gap in it, because we're going to finish the exterior of it with a finishing compound. But I'm just going to use insulating foam and spray this inside the door. And before you do that, you're going to want to make sure you have a lot of paper towel set up, because this stuff is really, the adhesive in this foam stuff is really sticky, and it gets gooey and all over stuff, and you want to be able to wipe it off quickly if it gets in an area that you don't want it to be, especially when it starts expanding. So what I found is you need to have some nail polish or acetone available to quickly wipe off any excess of this stuff before it cures. Once this foam cures, you'll never get it off without mechanically removing it and sanding it. So just have some of that on hand in case it gets in an area you don't want it to be. So I'm going to shake this up and then just spray a little bit in here. Don't spray too much of it, it's going to pop through it. But you just want a support in the back. Okay. And the object is just to get enough in there so that you're going to have a backing to put your finished material over the top. So we're going to let this harden. It's going to be expanding more. Keep an eye on it for the first few minutes. You're going to want to just wipe any excess amount of the stuff that goes past it, just so that it doesn't expand too far past to be flush with the door. Once that starts to cure, we'll come back with the next step. So now a few hours later, you can see the spray foam has hardened and is expanded. So we're going to need to trim this off to start with. Just trim off so that it's flush. And then you want to sand it, get it nice and even with the door. And then the next step is going to be, I'm going to be using this Durabond 45-minute dry time. And it's a sheetrock that I find hardens a lot harder than regular drywall the way I mix it. So we're just going to add this to my mixing tray. Now I'm adding water to my Durabond to get it to just a nice consistency. Now you want to get your Durabond to about this type of a consistency. And if it's too watery, just go into your bag and just add a little bit more of it until it gets to this consistency. Mix it really well. And then we're going to be adding it onto our sanded down repair spot. And then I'll finish this off when I have two hands. But I'll show you what it looks like after it's dried. For the corners, I'm actually using my fingers just to put it in here, and I'll smooth that off. It's almost kind of like an artwork project here. And don't worry about getting too much off. This stuff will just sand off. But the good part about this Durabond 45 is you have 45 minutes to work with it. But I find it actually, with this consistency, it's going to start to harden in less than 45 minutes. So you don't want to take too much time. But I'm going to smooth this off with the putty knife, and I'll be right back. And then I like to take a wet rag for the areas that I can't get my putty knife to do a smooth finish on, like in the corners and stuff. This will help it so that I don't have to do as much detailed sanding. So I let the patch dry a few hours, and then I sanded it down, and as you can see, it looks a lot better. However, it's going to need a second coating to fill in some of the imperfections. So now I applied a second coating of Durabond and allowed it to dry. So it does look like there's a lot less imperfections in the surface. However, it's still a little bit rough, so I'm going to need to do a final finishing sand on the surface here. Now that I've got my patch completely sanded and smooth, it's time to put a finishing coat of paint on. Whenever I'm repairing a surface that's been smoothly sanded, when I paint it, I always do a little dabbing motion at the end after I've got it totally painted, because I don't want the smooth spot of the repair to stand out. I want this paint job to blend in with the existing surface. So now we have our finished repair here, and you can barely tell that there was ever a hole there now. And this patch is just as solid as the rest of the door, so I think that patch is going to be just fine. Might apply one more layer of paint. There's just some very slight imperfections, but looks. I mean, if you're not looking, it looks just fine. So, in summary, what you do to repair a hole in your door is first you just clean up the hole, remove any sharp edges, sand down any rough spots that are raised so that everything's flush with the surface. Then apply some foam backing so that you have something to put your finishing coat, which is your Durabond mixture, on top of it. And once that dries and you sand everything down, then you're just going to paint it. So that's how you repair a hole in your interior doors, and I hope that helps.